Guys, welcome back to the channel. Another day and another video and back to baseball today. Today we're going to probably learn a lot because we're going to learn how to identify baseball pitches. And I finally learned that the pitches is the throw that the pitcher makes towards the guy with the bat. So that's the pitches. And I've seen that you can probably throw different curveballs and different angles or so on. But I see we got a lot of chapters here, so about to buckle up. Since last time, we got some new info. So that was from Hi-Fi John, of course, the big baseball fan. And we've learned that AAA teams are the minor league teams of MLB teams. So I think they mentioned that in the last video we watched with the Oakland teams, that they had to settle into Sacramento Arena. That was apparently a minor league team arena which they borrowed, which, yeah, I'm guessing the minor league teams arenas are not as good as even the worst arenas in the MLB. But anyways, let's go. How to identify baseball pitches. And I think I will probably have to revisit this video quite a few times. But let's take a look.
Hey, if you've ever watched a Major League Baseball game, you probably know how difficult it can be to identify
This box
a Major League Baseball game.
Does that mean that, like, I have no idea what it means. Can you please explain what it means?
You probably know how difficult it can be to identify the different types of pitches that pitchers throw. So I put this video together to help you identify the pitches that you might be seeing in a Major League Baseball game.
I gotta say, what's the most common injuries? Like, is it shoulder or an elbow? I'm guessing it could be because everyone, from what we saw from Baez, we saw that he both hit the ball and also played defense where he had to throw the ball. So I'm guessing it's mostly arm and shoulder related injuries, right?
In general, the three things that you're looking at are, number one, the velocity of each pitch.
Okay.
Number two, the movement of each pitch.
Okay.
And number three, and this is kind of a bonus, the pitch arsenal of
That one I don't know.
individual pitcher. If you go to Baseball Savant, you can look up the various pitches that each pitcher throws.
Holy crap. All right, this is... Has anyone of you watched Formula 1? You know, this looks like engineering almost.
For example, if you know that a pitcher throws a curveball, a four-seam fastball, and a changeup, that narrows it down for you pretty nicely.
Okay.
All right, let's get started.
Fastballs.
Fastball.
The fastball
Okay.
is the basic pitch of Major League Baseball, and it's the type of pitch that you're going to see the most. There are three basic categories of fastballs, and most Major League pitchers use one of these types of fastballs
Almost
as
curves a
their
little
primary
bit.
pitch.
Wow.
Four-seam fastball.
Four-seam. Okay, that was
The
fast.
four-seam fastball is the most common pitch in Major League Baseball. It's also the easiest to identify because from the angle of most TV broadcasts, a four-seam fastball appears to travel in a straight line with no vertical drop whatsoever.
It almost looks like he's going
This
up.
straight and level movement is a result of the high amount of
was down.
backspin placed on the ball.
Wow.
If you see a pitch
Holy
that's traveling
cow.
this straight at 90 plus miles an hour, you're probably looking at a
Oh, okay, that's the speed.
four-seam fastball.
97. Phew, 97 miles per hour. Ooh.
Some four-seam fastballs actually appear
It's
to
going
travel
up.
upwards as they approach the plate, and this is called a rising fastball.
Cool.
Despite the way it looks on TV, this upward movement is just an illusion.
Uh-huh. All
Sinker
right.
or two-seam fastball.
Okay, so four-seam fastball, that was the fast one.
The two-seam fastball, or sinker, has movement as it approaches the plate. This
Okay.
movement is usually downward
Yeah.
and or towards the pitcher's arm side, so away from the glove. If you see a pitch at fastball velocity that drops or appears to run or twist towards the pitcher's arm side, you're probably looking at a two-seam fastball.
This one was cool.
The terminology can get a little bit confusing at first because people call this same type of pitch by two different names. The most common practice is to call it a two-seamer if it arrives up in the zone or if it runs laterally without
Okay.
much downward movement.
Like that.
Reserving the term sinker
Yeah,
for a two-seamer that
okay.
drops or
Okay.
that arrives low in the zone. But it's also fairly common to use these terms interchangeably or to just use one term. For example, StatCast will call this pitch a sinker every time, even if it arrives up in the zone.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the sinker is easier for me than the four-way, what was it? Two-seam fastball.
The cutter,
Cutter.
is the least common fastball in Major League Baseball.
Also
By
fastball. Okay.
definition, the cutter is characterized by late and sharp movement towards the pitcher's gloves, so the opposite direction of a sinker. In
must
practice,
be-
however, a cutter can also drop or break hard towards the glove side like a slider. The unpredictability of the cutter can make it one of the hardest pitches to identify outright.
Right.
And in fact, it's not unheard of.
Like
to
this
make
is insane. How do you even throw it to be a cutter? Like what is like that the hand or finger movement so you know that it will change direction right at the end?
broadcast crews to disagree about whether a pitcher has just thrown a cutter or another type of pitch, most commonly a slider.
Looks like a slider, actually. Just a crisp, hard slider, a little break to it. Cutter, they're calling it.
The good news is that pitchers who throw a good cutter at the major league level tend to use this pitch quite a bit. So
Okay.
knowing that a pitcher throws a cutter is your first step in identifying what that pitcher's cutter
So
looks
that's like a specialty of some pitchers.
Breaking balls.
Breaking balls are pitches thrown with significant
Oh,
tilt
wow.
or side spin that causes the ball to change direction as it approaches the plate. This
Dips
change
a
in
lot, right?
direction is called break. There are two basic types of breaking balls.
Curveball.
The curveball is generally the slower of the two breaking balls. The archetypal 12 to 6 curveball gets its name from the fact that it breaks downwards.
Ooh,
as it
that one is
traveling from 12
nice.
o'clock to 6 o'clock. But a curveball can also travel towards the pitcher's glove side or come in straight and then bottom out.
Oh, I didn't
Towards
get
the
that.
pitcher's glove side or come in straight and then bottom out.
Okay, you have to
The
explain that.
curveball is almost always the slowest pitch that a pitcher throws. So if you're looking at a pitch that's traveling anywhere from 60 to 80
But it
miles
almost
an
tricks
hour
them
with
because it's
looping or
slower than you
dropping
think,
motion,
right?
it's probably
And then
a
all of a sudden it
curveball.
drops or loops.
Slider.
A slider is a breaking ball that
Aye.
breaks diagonally towards the pitcher's glove hand side. Sliders are generally thrown faster and with a tighter break than curveballs. As you watch these sliders, you might be noticing that some of them are bearing a resemblance to curveballs, and others are bearing a resemblance to cutters. This is a good time to say that these pitches all more or less exist on a continuum. And people sometimes use terms like slurve to describe pitches that don't quite fit into one of these categories. In any case, if you're talking about a slider or a slurve or a curveball, you're talking about a breaking ball. And the good news is, if you just call one of these pitches a breaking ball, you're never going to be wrong.
Off-speed pitches.
I gotta remember that
While
one.
the term off-speed pitch technically refers to any pitch that's not a fastball. In practice, the
Okay.
term off-speed pitch is usually
Always
reserved
under
for
90, right?
pitches that mimic fastballs
Looks
that
like it.
come in at a lower velocity.
Yeah.
There are two types of off-speed pitches that you will commonly see.
Change up.
Okay.
A changeup is a pitch that's disguised to look like a fastball.
Okay.
It arrives about 8 to 15 miles an hour slower.
Okay, so
To
they
my
hit
eye,
it too
most
fast.
Changeups look like sinkers, but again, they arrive 8 to 15 miles an hour slower than that pitcher's fastball. Let's take a look at a couple examples. Here is John Means throwing a fastball at 95, and then here is the changeup. When we slow this down, we see this is just a standard four-seam fastball,
Yeah.
95, and the changeup looks like it could be a sinker, but arrives 11 miles an hour slower
Oh,
than the fastball.
okay.
Here's Lucas
So it's
Giolito,
intended to be
fastball
slow.
96, and then the changeup arrives at 85. When we slow this down, we see it's a standard.
So it's good to like combine these two, right? Because then the hitter doesn't know what to expect. Maybe.
Four-seamer again. And then with the changeup, same delivery, comes in looking like it could be a fastball, but it arrives at 85. The changeup is designed to be deceptive, and even professional broadcasters can get it wrong.
One. Fastball. Taken low. Two fastballs. I think that was a change.
Think it was a change?
89 miles an hour.
Yeah, he throws harder than that.
This
Yeah,
is a
wow.
pitch that becomes much easier to identify once you start paying attention to the pitch velocities that are displayed on screen.
Right, so that's all I'm doing. Now this is cool.
The
Splitter.
splitter is an off-speed pitch that is thrown like the fastball, but that has a significant and late downward break.
dips
This diving
a
movement
lot.
is a result of the low spin rate placed on splitters, which pitchers achieve by using a split finger grip that gives this pitch
Oh,
its name. It's
okay.
easy to see a splitter and at first think that it might be another type of pitch that has some significant downward movement, like a curveball or a sinker.
Mm-hmm.
But once you start paying attention to the velocity of each pitch, you should be able to pick out the splitters. Here
Mm-hmm.
is Shohei Ohtani throwing a curveball at 79 and a splitter at 88.
Okay.
When we slow these down, we can see that the curveball has kind of a tumbling action to it, whereas the splitter comes in looking like it might be a fastball and then just drops.
Yeah.
The splitter
Wow,
is
how
ultimately not a very common pitch.
Okay.
So knowing that a pitcher has a splitter in their arsenal is a good first step in identifying that.
Wow, this is really
Less
interesting.
common pitches.
So each pitcher developed their own arsenal and what they're good at and so on.
The fastballs, breaking balls, and off-speed pitches that we've seen so far constitute the vast majority of pitches that you'll see when watching Major League Baseball.
Okay.
There are a few other types of pitches that you might see, and we'll go through them pretty quickly.
Ephus.
An ephus pitch is an incredibly slow and
What
high
the
arcing
hell?
breaking ball, if you want to call it that.
That was
Forkball.
cool.
The forkball is like an extreme splitter, and these will often land in the dirt or touching home plate.
Screwball.
A screwball is a breaking ball that breaks like a mirror image of a slider, so towards the pitcher's arm side. It's been years since one has been thrown at the major league level.
I wanna see.
Knuckleball.
We
And
have that
finally,
in-
there's the knuckleball, which
That's-
is an unpredictable
Yeah.
and floaty pitch that's thrown with almost no spin whatsoever.
That was cool. Final
So
thoughts,
that
yeah.
covers pretty much every pitch you're going to see when you watch Major League Baseball. If you know that you're going to be watching a baseball game and you want to get better at identifying pitches, the best thing you can do is go to Baseball Savant and search for the starting pitchers for that game. See what they pitch so that you are prepared and you know it's coming. Beyond that, just keep paying
And
attention
then I
to
can,
how the pitches
yeah.
move and the velocity of the pitches that you see on TV, and it won't be long before you are identifying pitches pretty well. Real quick before we wrap up, it
Will
should be
probably
made
take a
clear
while
that
for me.
each example that was shown in this video is a well-executed example of each pitch type. And in order to show the full movement of each pitch type, I only included videos where the batter did not make contact with the ball. In reality, not every pitch that you see in a Major League Baseball game is going to be this pretty
shit.
or is going to conform this well to the definition of each pitch type. Breaking balls might not break. This is called a hanging breaking ball, and they happen all the time. Hanging breaking balls are usually hit for power, so you don't want them. Pitchers will
Okay.
misfire on their fastball. And pitchers are always changing up the velocity, movement, and location of their pitches in order to keep batters guessing. So even the same type of pitch from the same pitcher can and will look different from pitch to pitch.
Yeah.
So give yourself
Yeah.
some time.
Wow.
And if you want to identify pitches by just seeing them on TV, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get there within a couple weeks if you just keep at it. Feel free to come back to
Really?
this video anytime.
Wow. Okay. What a great video, Sports Explainer. This was great. I definitely needed this, and I have to go back to this all the time. Like, do you guys always know what kind of pitch it is, or is it like 50-50? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there a big room, like margin of error? Because for me, like, of course, I'm a complete rookie. To me, they almost look like identical. Some of them, stood out a little bit, but in general, it looked identical. Anyways, super cool. Thank you for the suggestion. What should be our next step? So I just watch a few NFL highlights. Do you have when is the MLB season going on? What can I watch during that? Or what do you want me to see and everything? So thank you guys, and take care, and see you soon.